Hello everyone, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Myself Parthopratim Bora from Department of Sociology, Dibrugarh University. The title of this module is Critical Theory, the Frankfurt School, Contribution of Herbert Marcuse from the paper Contemporary Social Theory. So in the earlier module, we have already discussed the work of critical theories from the Frankfurt School, that is Theodor Adorno and Max Horkheimer. In this module, we will try to understand the critical theory of Herbert Marcuse. So as you know, Herbert Marcuse was one of the dominant figure from the critical theory of Frankfurt School. His understanding of the rationality, individuality and the freedom, especially in the context of contemporary capitalist society, help us to understand the capitalist society in a new way. So on the other hand, his emphasis on the one-dimensional man, or how the rationality of capitalism is having a domination over us, is important to know. So in such a broad context, we will try to see the various contribution of Herbert Marcuse and how it actually help us to know the nature of oppression, the new way of oppression that is taking place in the contemporary capitalist society. The significance of the work of Herbert Marcuse lies in the fact that how he influenced a generation of the scholar and how they basically question the contemporary society and how the direction in which the contemporary society is working. And he collaborated along with two of the important colleagues from the Frankfurt School, that is the Adorno and Horkheimer, which actually gave a new shape to the critical theory of Frankfurt School. If we see the important contribution of the Herbert Marcuse, one of the important contribution is his work on Reason and Revolution. So in fact, Reason and Revolution is the first major book of Herbert Marcuse that was published in 1941, which basically tried to give a new understanding of the Marx and the Hegel work. So although it demonstrates the similarity between the work of Marx and the Hegel, but the success of the Herbert Marcuse lies here is that he was successful into introducing the work of Hegel and Marx in a new way to the English-speaking world. So he tried to combine and reintroduce the work of Marx and Hegel into the English-speaking world in a new manner. The text, that is the Reason and Revolution, basically seen as one of the important contribution into the work of the philosophy of Marx and Hegel. And it was basically the idea of dialectics or the idea of negative thinking that was a part of both Hegel and the Marx that was used by the Marcuse in order to understand the contradiction that exists in the contemporary capitalist society. So the basic significance of the Reason and Revolution is how he used the dialectics thinking from the both Hegel and the Marx in order to understand the contradiction or the conflict that is the part of contemporary capitalist society and as well as contemporary industrial society. And in the process, he also tried to see how the revolutionary practice can actually help us to solve this problem of capitalist or the industrial society. So it is basically how he look into the question of revolutionary practice in order to tackle the question of dialectics in the contemporary capitalist as well as industrial society. Another important work of Herbert Marcuse is Eros and Civilization. So Eros and Civilization, a philosophical inquiry into Freud, is the significant work of Herbert Marcuse that was published in 1955. And the Eros and Civilization is also important for the fact that he tried to combine the work of Sigmund Freud, who was the father of the psychoanalysis, with the work of Karl Marx. So the interesting combination of the work of Freud and the Karl Marx made the work Eros and Civilization one of the interesting as well as one of the original contribution of Herbert Marcuse. By providing the criticism to the existing society and the value, he tried to give a call for the non-repressive civilization. So whereby because he gave a call for the non-repressive civilization, it was the thing which made him hero among the young student activists from that part of the world. So it was say for example, the young generation of the Germany during that time were fighting or struggling, and they were greatly influenced by the idea of the non-repressive civilization that was formulated by the Herbert Marcuse. But interestingly, his ideas that were given in the work Eurasian Civilization was criticized by one of his colleagues, that is Erich Fromm, from the same Frankfurt School. And Fromm, say for example, said that Marcuse's work is a kind of nihilism. So it was basically, he said that Herbert Marcuse is irresponsible. On the other hand, Herbert Marcuse also criticized Fromm, saying that it was basically the Herbert Marcuse understanding of the oppressive society was criticized by the Fromm because of his conservatism. That was a part of the Fromm understanding, and because of the conflict that exists between the Marcuse and the Fromm, that led to the severe kind of argument over the years, especially within the Frankfurt School. The next important work that is seen as one of the most original work of the Herbert Marcuse is the One-Dimensional Man. The One-Dimensional Man that was published in 1964 was seen as a kind of critique, or it was seen as a kind of wide-ranging critique to the capitalist as well as communist society, and it is a kind of taken as a classic work within the critical theory. This basically tried to see the declining potential of the capitalist society and the development of the new form of social control. So he tried to reintroduce the question of the revolutionary potential of the working class, but in that context he was not a kind of like proper Marxian understanding. He basically tried to see the limitation that was seen in the revolutionary potential of the working class in the capitalist society. So as a result, he was basically trying to theorize why there is a declining in the revolutionary potential in the capitalist society, and in that context he tried to see the new form of that social control that is working in the capitalist society. So Marcuse basically argued that in the advanced capitalist society there is a false need which integrated individual into the existing system of production and consumption. He say for example, while talking about mass media, culture, advertising, industrial management, etc., he basically talk about how this system eliminate the critique or negativity that are the part of the capitalist system. And because of that, because this the media or advertising or the culture which eliminate the negativity or the dialectics from the capitalist society, as a result it is also a kind of elimination of the critical thinking, and this elimination of the critical thinking, Herbert Marcuse argued that will lead to the one-dimensional man, and he see this the formation of one-dimensional man as a kind of problem that exists in the capitalist society. So we see that one-dimensional man, that is try to give an understanding to the declining of dialectical thinking that was seen in case of capitalist society. So Herbert Marcuse basically tried to see how the one-dimensional thinking does not demand change, nor does it recognize the degree to which the individual is victim of the forces of domination in the society. So here in this context he was also conceptualizing the idea of democratic unfreedom. So by the concept of democratic unfreedom he was basically referring to the free acceptance of the oppression or the surplus repression in the contemporary society. So how the oppression or the repression take place in the contemporary society. So basically he talked about the two fundamental problems in the orthodox Marxism, that was the understanding of Marxism in the context of revolutionary potential of the proletariat as well as inevitability of the capitalist crisis. So because the orthodox Marxists see the revolutionary potential of the proletariat and the capitalist crisis as inevitable. But for Marcuse, these are the two important problems that in fact lies with the orthodox Marxism. And in this broader context, he conceptualized the idea of the democratic unfreedom. The significance of the one-dimensional man as well as Erosion civilization, as I already mentioned, lies in the fact that how he tried to bring in the question of psychoanalysis from Freud in the Marxian understanding. So say for example, while talking about the kind of repression that is taking place in the contemporary society, he tried to see how the working potential of how the revolutionary potential of the working class may not be achieved in the contemporary society because of the suppression or the oppression that is taking part in the contemporary society. He basically provided a kind of social critique whereby he tried to see the forces of domination that is working in the contemporary society. Although he said that there can be some problem with the revolutionary potential of the working class, he was basically interested, or he was happy to see the successful mobilization that is taking place in case of feminist movement, in terms of how the feminist movement is able to challenge the domination that is taking place in the society by questioning the gendered institution, or on the other hand by questioning the discrimination or the sexism that is present in the society. And in that way, he was saying that the feminist movement in fact help us to relook into the question of oppression, or on the other hand to relook into the question of revolutionary potential that is declining with reference to the working class in the contemporary society. Although the idea of one-dimensional man was highly criticized by the orthodox Marxists, but yet it had a deep influence on the new left, because it could articulate the growing dissatisfaction that was emerging in the capitalist society or the Soviet communist society, where Marxism has taken a rigid form, and because of the dictatorial state was basically crushed aside a critical or the oppositional thinking that can emerge in this part of the world. So because of the domination of the critical thinking, or because of the domination of the critical thinking which was opposed by the new left, so his idea, the idea of one-dimensional man that was popularized by Herbert Marcuse, started gaining popularity among the new left, although his popularity among the orthodox Marxists was reduced to a considerable extent. One of the significant way to understand the work of Herbert Marcuse is how Herbert Marcuse played the role of public intellectual. So we know that after the publication of One-Dimensional Man, that was followed by publication of some other important work that basically tries to articulate the politics of the new left, and in that way, by articulating the politics of the new left, he was basically critiquing the capitalist society, and his involvement with the work of new left made him one of the important public intellectual of his time. So one of the famous as well as controversial work of the Herbert Marcuse was Repressive Tolerance, and this work was published in 1965. Is another example where he was critical of the one-dimensional thinking. So here Marcuse shows how the ideas or the concept have their origin in the struggle for liberation can be co-opted or used in the legitimate oppression. So he basically tried to see how there were some ideas, although there are some ideas and concepts that are associated with the struggle for liberation, but there may be possibility that these ideas or this concept can be again used in the context of oppression, and this was one of the interesting arguments that was he put forwarded in his work Repressive Tolerance. Then another work we can talk here is an essay on liberation that was published in 1969, and where he was basically providing kind of celebration of the various liberal movement that was taking place from the 1960 onwards. Say for example, the movement in Vietnam, or the hippies movement in USA, or the movement that was taking place against the oppressive regime in Europe. So he was basically try to see the positive aspect of the various movements that were taking place in the various parts of the globe in his work and essay on liberation that was published in 1969. In his last work, The Aesthetic Dimension, that was published in 1969, Marcuse could return to his earlier interest, that is his interest on the art. And his interesting work on the art was basically to see into the question of emancipatory potential of the aesthetics. So it was basically how he see the emancipatory potential of the art in order to the question the bourgeois ideology, or in order to question how the tradition of the bourgeois ideology can be questioned by means of the art. Thus, he attempted to defend the importance of great art for the projection of emancipation, and argued that cultural revolution was indispensable part of revolutionary politics. He take the polemic stand against the problematic interpretation of the function of art by the orthodox Marxists. So he say, rather than the stand that was taken by the orthodox Marxists, he was basically looking into the question of revolutionary potential that the art can have as an aesthetic form. So Marcuse stated that it seems that art expresses a truth, an experience, a necessity, which although not in the domain of radical praxis, are nevertheless essential components of revolution. So it is basically the revolutionary potential of the art that is the interesting understanding that is provided in his work, The Aesthetic Dimension. In this context, basically the work of Marcuse and the Frankfurt School was evidence from the fact that he was looking into the question of proletariat and how they can rise against the oppressor in the context of Marxian understanding. This theorizing basically tried to see the social as well as psychological mechanism that actually work in the society made the proletariat complicit in their own domination. So in the context of student revolution that was taking place in the 1960s, he was basically showing how there is a need of change, including the class struggle, but it cannot be reduced to that of class struggle. So it was seen that there is a possibility the class struggle or the class or the proletariat can become part of their own domination. So as a result, in that context, he talked about the question of a student revolution, which may not be similar to that of class struggle because of their revolutionary potential. On the other hand, Marcuse also talked about the multiplicity of the social group in the contemporary society in the context of social change. So he said that this multiple form of the social group are important in order to understand the multiple form of oppression or the multiple form of repression that is going place or that is taking place in our society. And here he could see the role or the significance of the art in order to question the legitimacy of the multiple form of oppression that is taking place in our society, or the multiple form of oppression that is taking place among the various subjects. While talking about the multiplicity of the subject, Marcuse basically talk about the specificity that is associated with the different or the distinct subject. Say for example, the white man and the working class, how they are different from each other. This individual feature or the specificity that are associated with the subject can be seen from the various dimensions. Say for example, the gender, race, the level of education, etc. These are the multiple dimensions that help us to know the particular subject position in order to understand the revolutionary potential that a subject position may have. And Herbert Marcuse also talk about the question of knowing the inner history of the individual in order to understand the experience and opportunities that are provided by them that may be affected by the structural position. So in order to know the experiences, or in order to know the inner history of the individual in terms of experience and opportunities of the structural position of the individual, Herbert Marcuse basically looking into the distinctiveness of the each subject in the revolutionary potential. While understanding the subject position, he said that the subject position need not be understood only in terms of class oppression. So because of the radicalism that may exist, or because of the art that may exist, it is not only the class oppression, there can be some other thing, or there can be some other structural important indicator. And he said that as a result, because of the multiplicity, the Marxist ideology, because it focused merely on the economic dimension of the proletariat, there is a need of radical relooking into the question of the oppression that is taking place in our society in terms of multiplicity of the subjects. So from the module, if we see in the Frankfurt School, the unique place that the Herbert Marcuse had because of his own way, although he collaborated a lot with the Adorno and Horkheimer, his work was substantially different from that of the Fromm. So in a way we can say that there is a unique way of understanding the contemporary capitalist as well as industrial society that was formulated by the Marcuse. So another important interesting thing about the work of Marcuse was how he tried to combine, on the one hand, the work of Marx and Hegel. On the other hand, he also tried to relook into the question of the Marx from the psychoanalytical point of Freud. So all these two theoretical positions made the work of Herbert Marcuse interesting in order to understand the fundamental debate that were taking place in the contemporary society, especially with the reference to the dominance, or the politics, or the consumerist culture, or the question of alienation that were actually taking place in the contemporary society. He also criticized the Western society because of the problem that are seen in the Western society, especially with reference to the problem of hunger or the want, that were basically creating the dehumanized society. So if we see in the context of one-dimensional man, he was also questioning the question of technological rationality, which was creating a kind of uniform society in the West, which was problematic for society, whether it was a capitalist society or whether it is a communist society. He basically saw the problem of too much rationality as problematic, where the creativity or the self-expression of the individual are repressed because of the technological domination. And in such a context, Marcuse was basically supporting the need of having the creative energy, whereby the creative or the human liberty can be practiced. So especially in the context of the Western society, he was critical of the armchair position. So as I already discussed in the earlier part of my module, how the Herbert Marcuse was working as a public intellectual. His role of the student politics, although it was criticized by the conservative colleague of Fromm, but his part, or the role that the Marcuse played in the context of student politics, or his support with the various liberal movements that were taking place in the Vietnam on the one hand, or the hippie movement in America, or the various liberal movements that were taking place in the Europe in the 1960s, was basically shows how he on the one hand was working as an academician but as a role of public intellectual, and his understanding was interesting because he do not want to give a kind of single understanding of the role of subject. He was basically trying to provide how the revolutionary potential need to be seen from the context of multiplicity. So as a result, he was not a kind of orthodox Marxist, or who was not a kind of orthodox Marxist who only focus on the revolutionary potential of the proletariat. He was basically looking into what are the limitations that can be associated with the revolutionary potential of the proletariat. In that context, we can take the example of art. He talked how the art or the popular culture, they can also play an important role, especially in the context of the defining the revolution of the society. So the work of Herbert Marcuse is significant to understand the nature of working of the contemporary industrial as well as capitalist society, how they work, what are the contradiction, and how we can understand that contradiction in the capitalist as well as industrial society. Thank you.